Hello YouTube, this is Reverend Evan Sackett. I want to show you something. This is a photograph of me taken upon my graduation from high school, 2003, which was 8 years ago. It's a long time when you think about it. I actually looked about half-ass handsome back then. I could have actually had a shot at some women, possibly. But what I've been thinking about lately is it's amazing how we grow and change. I've been observing that lately. Just in my own neighborhood, a lot of the kids that I went to school with, in school they were very free-minded, very individual, very teenage-ish. And it's amazing to see them evolve into adults, and we're really not that old yet. I mean, we're in our mid-20s. We've only been out of high school for 5-6 years, and I'm already seeing a miraculous transition in some of the kids that I went to school with. Kids that were pot-smoking skaters, I've watched them transform into punk pot-smoking skaters, into Marines with wives and children. I mean, it's amazing, and this is something I've noticed. So I have some advice to any parents out there who have children that are in trouble, that might be getting in trouble at school, that might be making bad grades, that are having problems now. Do not fret, because they are the ones, I swear to God, that later on in life have the best chance at making it. Because I've observed the kids that made straight A's in high school and in middle school, who did not do drugs, who never got in trouble with the law. About 80% of them are now in probation. They are now in methadone clinics. They are now, some of them are in jail. Some of them are awaiting parole. And the reasoning is because when they were in high school, they were goody two-shoes. They were not exposed to the harsher sides of reality. And when they got out of high school, they were suddenly exposed to the drugs, to the wildlife, and they just went with it. The thing about kids who are having trouble in school is they are learning their lesson earlier on in life. Most of us have to learn the hard way. There are a very slim few people who will coast through life without making any mistakes, or any big mistakes anyway, and are fortunate enough to not have to learn the hard way. But most of us have to learn the hard way. It's just a fact of life. And in America, we are so fucking determined to keep our kids away from reality, instead of just letting them experience things for themselves. You can't shelter your kids forever. And what I'm seeing is happening is parents are sheltering their children as teenagers, and when they get out into the real world, they are simply not equipped with the skills to deal with the functionality of reality. They simply cannot take it. That's why the increase in suicides is so great. The increase in drug use is so great. Pregnancy at early ages, early marriages, especially in this community where I live, is surrounded by the Bible Belt. 95% of all people I know that are 25, between the ages of, say, 21 and 25, either have been married, are married, or have been married and divorced. In some cases, more than once. And it is absolutely almost inexcusable that someone that is 25 years old has already been married and divorced twice. That's insane. I mean, for fuck's sake, people, get to know the person and find out if you really love them before you fucking marry them, because all you're doing is tying the knot and putting yourself in a hole. That's what tying the knot means. It means fucking yourself, basically. It's amazing how how relationships go sour when they become marriages. It's amazing how women can change miraculously. And you see, back in the old days, men held the title over women. They controlled the women, it seemed. Women were simply just an extension of the man. A man walked into a party, his wife was there at his side, his wife was there to go fetch his glasses, to go fetch his driving gloves, to go get him a champagne. Honey, please go get me a champagne. Honey, please go get me a brandy. Honey, will you take these back to the car? Yes, honey, no problem. Gerald, this is my wife, Janine. Hi. Alright, Gerald, let's talk business. Honey, stay there and look nice. But these days, women's living everything, and it's great that women are liberated and no longer having to be extensions of men, but the problem is it's going in the opposite direction. And we're not going to accomplish anything like that. It's the same concept as blacks being prejudiced against whites. I mean, I understand that they were persecuted years ago with slavery, but I mean, the modern day whites, we did not do these things. We did not cause this. And there's no sense in being prejudiced against us unless, I'm prejudiced against an individual for their individual thoughts and their individual characteristics, not because of the color of their skin or their gender or their race. Being racist is just so narrow-minded, it's not even funny. Just to hate a person because of their genetic background, it is so idiotic. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance is not knowing better. Stupidity is knowing better and not taking the actions of a person who knows better, but instead acting ignorant and taking the actions of an ignorant person. For instance, knowing that you should carry a spare tire and not carrying a spare tire because you're too lazy to put it in the trunk, that's stupidity. Not knowing how a spare tire goes on a car, that's ignorance. But back to the point of all of this, there's a whole bunch of points molded into this little conversation because I tend to ramble. But what I'm trying to say, back to the main point, is, in our reality, in our lifetimes, we are so fueled by emotions. We allow our emotions to rule our lives. And, so many of us, our whole lives are fueled by whatever emotional state we are in. It's the pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of pleasure. It determines whether or not we get married. It determines whether or not we get divorced. Whether or not we supposedly fall in love with somebody. I'm 25 years old and I've never been in a relationship. Maybe once I had a half-ass relationship in high school. But I've never been in a serious relationship. Sometimes I wonder if it's a curse or a blessing that maybe, without a relationship, I'm able to devote a lot more of my time to achieving the goals that I would like to achieve in life. But at the same time, when you're lacking in a relationship, it is the most agonizing feeling, because when you are in a relationship, you know that if nothing else, there is one person on the face of this earth that loves you. And it's a love beyond family love. Because when you love someone and you're able to have sexual relations with them, it's a binding. It's a love totally with no walls. Loving the love between a mother and a son or a family is unconditional love, but it's love with boundaries. But the love between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, whichever way you like to do it, is a complete and whole love. With no walls, with no boundaries. It's complete. And it's just, it's a fulfillment that so many people take for granted, and while others do not experience it. And I don't really know what else to say except stop being fucking run by your fucking emotions. Simple as that.